What's happening, Chazz? How you doing today?
Good and yourself. Long time no see.
Yeah, I've been hanging out a little bit, man, taking care of business, but I know we normally come on Wednesdays, but tonight is a Thursday night special edition. So what we're going to do is we're basically going to come on tonight, and then we'll revert back to our regular old ways every Wednesday at 6 o'clock. This broadcast can be seen that Central Standard Time. And then if you're on the East Coast of the Midwest, that's that Eastern Time. So since we've been gone, Chaz, you still been drinking your water, taking care of your body and all that?
Yeah, still doing the same old. Get my water in, doing my little exercises, taking my little vitamins, supplements. So yeah, I'm still doing the same. How about yourself?
Yeah, staying away from all that greasy stuff, man, salty and sugary foods. And I feel great, man. I'm losing weight. So, I mean, it's one of those things where we got to practice what we preach because we always talking about health and we should be proponents of that.
Right.
So, having said that, Chaz, let's talk about what's on the bottom of this screen, which says, what do we need more of as a people? This is part 2. So, before we get into that, we always like to welcome our guests. And I know you be laying for that. So, we'll come on with those who want to say hi to us, and we'll jump right into what we need to do as a people more.
Okay. We got Sister Marie. She fires in here. She says, Hotep family, we appreciate her. Sister Mashonda fires behind her. She says, hello, we appreciate her.
Yeah, Chaz, sometimes we don't tell people enough that we appreciate them watching this broadcast. Chaz, they can be doing anything that they want to do, but they took time out of their schedule. And a lot of podcasters, it's like sometimes we take people for granted.
Yeah.
And I think every now and then we have to let the people know that watch Adults Only that we truly appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to watch this broadcast because they don't have to do it, Chaz. They owe us nothing, man.
Right. And even for the ones who may have a busy work schedule, they may not be able to watch it now, but they catch it on the playback. Either or, if you watch now on the playback, we really do appreciate you because, like you say, you could be watching any TV show, you could be cooking, you could be doing anything. And for you to take an hour out of your busy day to watch us, we truly, truly appreciate that.
Okay. Well, having said that, Chaz, what do we need more of as a people? Part 2, fire away.
Letter K, generosity. Giving to others when needed. And I'm going to take it a step further. Giving to others and not expecting anything back. See, the thing is, we love to give to people, expecting them to give us money, to give us a discount, or sometimes give us some kind of gift card. Well, most of the times, sometimes people just can't afford to do that. So be generous. Say, you know what? I'm going to cut this man's yard. I'm going to give this woman some extra cash. I'm going to give that child some extra water. Do something and not expect anything back, and not for accolades, not for people to put it on social media, but just doing it because you see someone struggling, you see someone in need, and you want to be a help to that person.
That is well said, Chaz. It was well said, I should say, because if you look at it and we're honest, many of us, we are some of the most greediest people. We really are as a people. We're selfish and we're stingy. And so generosity would go a long way, especially with us as a people, because a lot of us don't know what it means to give to others, especially when needed. We all need help sometimes, but just being nice to people sometimes, just opening the door for people, saying kind things to people instead of waiting for one day, like a so-called Mother's or Father's Day, or Christmas and all these. We wait and we're generous on those days during that time of season. But other than that, Chaz, we treat people like crap throughout the whole year. And it's like we definitely need to say we need more generosity as a people. Yeah. And that's what I want to work on in my own life.
Yeah, and it lightens people's days up. Like I said, we have this little joke that we do, and I do it to a lot of people that I see regularly. Even at the gym, I notice some of the guys come here, they had their little haircuts. Now I ask them, man, I noticed you got that little cut. And they light up like a Christmas tree when I say that. So they're happy that someone is giving them a genuine comment, because we all need comments in this society. Enough people are tearing us down enough.
Yeah, really.
Sister Mashonda fires in here. She says, I'm watching while I'm working. We appreciate that.
I would say, I hope her supervisor isn't watching either.
Well, her supervisor probably is not watching, or she's probably doing something else. She says, if I have, I don't mind sharing. Yeah, sharing it. Sharing this podcast with some people that you may know or family members could benefit from this as well. So, of course, sharing this is always a fantastic idea. We appreciate that as well. Sister Nikita fires in here. She says, I love this. We appreciate that, sister.
Yeah, because Chaz, you must, and I'm glad the sister said that because we must love positivity. This is a positive broadcast talking about what do we need more of as a people, and we need to be more generous. And so we should all love these types of discussions because all we're really doing tonight is encouraging people to do better. That's all we're doing. We're encouraging people. I guess Mashonda's laugh out loud because I told her I hope her supervisor isn't watching. But Chaz, we need more broadcasts and podcasts that's going to talk about uplifting people, not tearing them down, not talking about them, but being generous. And I think this next one I'll let you speak to because this is something else we need as a people.
Letter I, compassion, caring about others and wanting to help when hurt. I'm sorry. Caring about others and wanting to help when hurt needs encouragement. Exactly. A lot of people are going through a lot, and I think as a society, brother, we're so insensitive. We've seen so much, we've gone through so much. So sometimes when we hear horrible news, we brush it off, or we don't really care or think twice about it. And I'm saying we have to start having feelings for people, start caring about what they're going through. Not that you got to write the mayor, write the president, or anything of that, but actually sit back and contemplate and give feelings that, because if it were us, I know we would want someone to shed tears and give us encouragement. So we do a terrible job at just saying, especially, it ain't my family, I don't care. We say that a lot, but I don't think we understand how hard how hard that is to say to a person.
Yeah, that's true, because when people are hurting, Chaz, like this comment says, when people are hurting, they don't need to be beaten over the head. They don't need to be pushed down and talked about and, just dragging them through the mud. They need, and we need encouragement. When I'm hurting, I need someone to encourage me. And we all hurt. That's the thing, see, because some of us want to play this old tough role where we're not hurting at all. We never hurt. But sometimes we need compassion. And I'll give it back to you. But the reason we need compassion, more of it, is because we live in a cruel world. Let's be honest, man. Yeah. We live in a cruel, evil, insensitive, indifferent. We live in a harsh world. And we have to be the light bearers to bring compassion where we care genuinely, Chaz, about other people. We've lost that. And I think we need to have more of that compassion shown in each of our lives.
Yeah, we really do. When you look at some of these news stories that happen on the news, like I said, you got this brother named Carmelo Anthony, that thing, and all of these stuff that's going on. And you hear some people, I hear it in the grocery store, people talking amongst me in the lines, and they're saying some things like, oh, that wasn't nothing. And I don't say anything to the people, but in my head, I'm thinking, these people are insensitive. How could you say that when someone has been brutally attacked or lost their life, for you to sit back and say you don't care at all? I think this is just terrible. But I do agree with you, brother. We do need to start having more compassion for not ourselves, but to other situations. Sister Tiffany fires in here. She says, peace and power. Appreciate
and that's true, because when you have peace and power, you're going to display that, because that's what power does. Power isn't something that we hoard up in our hearts and just save it. Power is demonstrated. It's like an explosion. When you light that powder keg and it explodes, the people around it are affected. So she's right. We need to have more peace and more power. And this is something that we definitely need, Chaz.
Letter M, love. Wanting and demonstrating the best for someone, regardless of how they may be. Exactly. I'll let you take it, and I'm going to take a swig real quick.
Okay, because a lot of us don't realize that when we talk about love, we're talking about a type of love that is contingent upon what you do for me. See, if you do nothing for me, I don't love you. But as soon as you do something for me, my arms are wide open and I'm smiling like a Cheshire cat, and I'm happy. and I think we have to look at demonstrating this love. Now, again, I have to bring this up because I think it's important. Most of us are into some type of spiritual or religious ideology, and that's fine. And most of them talk about love. They really do. But instead of us showing the love, we talk about it, but we show hate, disdain, a strong dislikeness, and definitely we show coldness. And Chaz, I'm telling all of us, you, me, and everyone watching this, we've got to stop this. We've got to show love and demonstrate it for people, regardless of how they are. They may not be how I want them to be. They may not be how you want them to be. but we still have to demonstrate love, Chazz, because that's something that the world needs now. I told you last week there was a song when I grew up. It was by a guy named Burt Bacharach. He wrote the music. It's like, what the world needs now is love, sweet love. No, not just for some, but for everyone, and all of that stuff. We do need more love, Chazz. We have to demonstrate it.
I do agree, and especially if we have children that's growing up, you don't want them to always see you hard and tough and acting mean. You do need to show love and compassion, because once again, once you show love and compassion, it spreads around to our children and our loved ones to say, you know what, that is a trait that I need to start adapting or adopting, and I need to start putting that in my life so that way everybody can want to feel love. I mean, would you want to be around somebody that's hateful and evil and bitter all the time? I know I wouldn't.
Yeah, and that's sad that we have to say this, but we say it because of love. See, some people misconstrue our broadcast because they say, well, you guys are always talking a lot about issues, but what it boils down to is this is what is called love talk. We're encouraging people to be better, and if that's not love or a demonstration of a part of love, I really don't know what is.
Sister Barbara fires in here. She says, Hotep Kings speak the truth. I appreciate that comment.
Yeah, because Chazz, and I think I'm glad she said that, because oftentimes we don't like to tell the truth. Now, behind closed doors, you and I'll be hollering at each other, telling the truth. But when we get a chance and a platform, we sugarcoat it. Well, you can't be too sure. Well, or we get around these people that we know and we don't want to be honest with them. And that's why she says, speak the truth. But I know you want to do this next one. So let me hit this so you can talk about it. And I'm going to let you have fun with it. What we need more of as a people is this.
Better end. Respect. Valuing people as humans. Exactly. We do need to have more respect. Like I said, my biggest thing is called respect in traffic. When you're on the highway, on the streets, driving, you see someone has their blinker on, put on your brakes, let that person or let that elder over, let them over. It's not going to kill you. Or even not only that, just in general, when you're out in public, holding the doors for people, that's a sign of respect. Always putting yourself on the back burner, putting people on the front and say, you know what, I may be in a rush, I may be, pressed for time, but it's not going to hurt me to have respect for this individual, to let them in front of me, or all kind of things. But as a society, and especially us blacks, we have a culture that teaches us to walk over the next man, walk over the next woman, don't care about them. We have to start bringing back respect, because without respect, the society will plummet very, very quickly.
That's so true, because there's so much disrespect in our communities, in our societies, in our families. There's so much rudeness, and there's so much contempt. All you got to do is listen to how some of us talk around people that are older than us. See, when I was growing up, and I don't care what people think about, that was back in the Stone Age, we didn't use vulgarity around older people out of a sign of respect. We didn't call older women bees and stuff of that sort just because we had a disagreement with them. We didn't call people out of their names because they were older than us. We should respect these elders because they're human beings. And not only that, we should have respect. But when you don't respect yourself, Chazz, and when I don't respect myself, it's hard to value people as humans. And so we've got to begin to have the process of letting people know that respect is where it all starts. Teach your children respect at a young age. See, teach your children not to roll their eyes at adults when adults are correcting them. See, we've lost respect. This is why people don't want to hear these kinds of broadcasts, because it's like we're telling them the truth and they don't want to hear it, and we don't want to hear it because we feel like we have all the answers, and we don't. That respect is a problem. That it's an issue.
Yeah, it really is. Like I said, in our middle and high schoolers, from the adults to elementary students, all of us, this respect factor. And like I said, society does a good job at teaching us to disrespect, show the next man or show the next woman up, make sure you embarrass them. And this is going to cause a lot of issues if we keep this trajectory up. It is going to get worse and worse by the years if we keep this up. And I do agree with you 1,000%. We do need to have a better respect for other humans as well. Letter O, tolerance, acceptance and respecting differences in others. I want to take this to another route, tolerance for foolishness. See, we have a lot of tolerance for foolishness. A lot of the stuff you see on social media, a lot of the stuff you see on TV, we tolerate some stuff that does not make sense. It is awful. It is terrible. But we have a high tolerance for it. But the things that we should have a tolerance for we don't care for it. We throw it under the rug. We throw it in the drawer. We throw it away. We throw it out the window. So it's just something that I think we need to start doing a better job at practicing.
Yeah, and we're so petty too, Chaz. Many of us are very petty because if you wear your hat to the back, and I wear my hat to the front, I don't want to accept you. See, so I want to talk about you, but yet we both wearing hats. We're all in an oppressive system that's kicking us in the teeth. It's kicking us everywhere you could imagine. And so instead of us tolerating each other and accepting the differences, trying to work together, trying to look at unity, trying to look at harmony and peace and balance, trying to look at all of these things, we're too busy not tolerating each other just because we're different. Just because you wear glasses and I don't wear glasses, I have a problem with you. Just because you're light-skinned and someone's dark-skinned, these things are so petty. But as a people, this is where our society has come to. And I want to say this to the adults that's at least 40 or older. I don't think a lot of it is our fault, Chaz. A lot of it is our fault because we don't try to correct it because we say, what? I'm staying in my lane. You don't have a lane to stay in. There's no such thing as staying in your lane when we're being kicked in the teeth and we see what's going on around here.
Yeah, it's terrible. And I was going to even take it a step further for which I don't agree with, but the people who are Republicans and some who are Democrats. You know, some people have their bumpers on the vehicle saying that I'm a Republican, I'm for Trump. Some may say I'm a Democrat and I'm for Kamala and all that. And when we go in these grocery stores, especially where it's time for voting, we get into fights with these people. But my thing is this: if you are a Republican and I'm a Democrat, why are we acting like that? Respect that man's opinion. Respect that woman's opinion. You shouldn't be going to blows or, spitting on people or, cutting people off in traffic because you see a man has a Trump sticker in his window. I mean, this is ridiculous. Sister Barbara fires in here. She says, we
need, it looks like it's need. It's just a space between that.
Some more honesty. If you can, brother, and the reason why it's taking me so long, you may, if you can blow up the comments, make them a little bit bigger. That's why it takes me a little bit longer.
Yeah. She says we need more honesty, and that's one of our points. We do, Chaz. See, we don't like to tell the truth. This is one of the things, and I need to calm down because she just hit a nerve. She hit a nerve, and the nerve is basically when we always say we're honest, but we're not. A lot of us are liars. We're cheats. We are not the people that we want people to think we are. We have some very serious internal issues, and we need to be more honest. And sometimes the truth is going to hurt us, and that's why I like these broadcasts, because we pride in telling the truth, and a lot of us are not honest, man. We're always trying to get over on people. We always trying to get the best end of people and all this stuff. And we gotta stop this, man. As they say, do unto others and then split before they get you back. That's not right, man.
Yeah, it's not. Sister had a good comment, and we do need to practice more honesty. Brother Ray fires in here. Read his comment. He says the way to get respect is to give. No, I'm sorry. The way to get respect is to respect yourself, and everyone you encounter. Adults should respect children to get respect from a child. Absolutely. Yeah. That's the oldest thing in the book. You give respect, you get respect. You can't treat another person like dog crap and expect that person to appreciate and respect you. You have to treat people the way you want to be treated. Excellent comment, Brother Way, and we appreciate you for logging in tonight.
Yeah, and I want to add on to the back part of his comment. He says adults should respect children to get respect from a child. And that's so true, because we use vulgarity around our children all the time. We call them all kind of things. We abuse them. We abuse them verbally. We talk down to them. We say all kind of things to them. And when they get about 6 or 7 years old, and then they start using that language, we want to whip them. We want to slap them in the face and tell them don't be saying that. All they're doing is repeating what their environment has taught them, you see. And he's right. We got to stop this nonsense.
Right. Brother Ray fires in here again. He says poor political adequates. Actually, you shouldn't be announcing your political party. Yeah.
But the cat's out the bag now. They're gonna do it. I know you're gonna say it. The cat's out there. Yeah. We shouldn't, but they do it. Yeah. So that's theory once again. We shouldn't, but they do it. So it's like that shouldn't make me want to kill you because of your ideology. I may disagree with it, which I do with both parties, but I still should respect you as a human being, because that's what it should be. We should be doing.
Absolutely. He fires in here again. He says it takes strength to be honest. Yeah, it does. You have to be a strong person to be honest, because it's so easy to tell a lie. It's so easy to connive. It's so easy to get over. And to be a excuse me, an honest person, it does take a lot of courage and strength. Appreciate that comment as well. Letter P. Honesty, telling the truth and not lying much of the time. I would say telling the truth and not lying all the time. You should always tell the truth. There is no circumstance to where we should lie. We should always tell the truth. In fact, I hate going through this. Me and you have these little tangents that we're going on, but scripture says that liars are basically going to hell if you have a repetitive lifestyle of that. So if you're a Christian, you believe that, you need to stop lying. Everybody included, myself, all kind of people. We tell little lies. They call them little fibs, little white lies. A lie is a lie. If you tell it, you need to cut it out because it's really very, very terrible. And then, like you said, you develop trust issues where people are not going to believe what you say. People are going to always go behind your back in second and third and fourth, checking behind you to make sure it's accurate. It's a terrible spot to be in. So I agree with this comment that we should tell the truth all the time.
Yeah, this is your show, Chazz. Keep on going. I don't have anything to add to that. This is your show. Keep going. Q.
Personal growth. We all need to grow up in our thinking and our behavior. Exactly. As a teenager, may have done certain things, going out, going to certain places that you shouldn't be in. But if you're 40, 50, 60 years old, you still shouldn't be riding around, going getting tint on your windows, which you can do what you want to do. But that mindset that you still thinking that you're young, bro, you 60, 70, 80 years old, got the music playing, want people to think you're still young, want people to still think you're hip. That's called personal growth. You may say at once upon a time, that was my identity. That's right. What I believed in. That's what I knew. But as you get older, you should grow up out of that, having some kind of growth, saying, enough with that. I'm done with it.
Yeah, this is one of our biggest issues, Chazz, that I don't think we've come to grips with. We haven't come to grips with it yet. And it's basically like you just said. We all, notice it didn't just say other people. It says we all, you, me, each of us individually. We need to grow up, Chazz, in our thinking. Now, we grow up when it comes to our length. You know, we start off and we're small. We begin to grow long-wise. So now but we don't grow up in the mind, see? And we begin to act. This is why sometimes it baffles me to see a grown person that's in their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and further. You know, they always talk about, I'm grown. But yet we act, man, like we're like 13, 12-year-olds. All you got to do is let a situation come up, and you're going to see how old we really are. And because a lot of us, we don't know how to act because we're still children in our thinking, and that's very problematic. And you're right when it comes to that, man.
I want to highlight some of my personal life that happened to me, and it dawned on me. I wanted to expose, but this is something called personal growth. Now, a person, I don't know who did this. I was driving somewhere. I get back in the vehicle. Someone literally took an egg, brother, and this person, I'm willing to bet you, was a grown-up because kids really are at school at this time. Took an egg, threw a red egg on my windshield. Now, kids that are 10, 11, 12 do that. They get eggs with their little homeboys and homegirls that go to the store and say, we're going to do a prank on this person and throw egg on their car. And I saw that. Now, personal growth is for me to act the fool out in public, go in the stores, try to get someone to show me the camera so I can go fight them. The thought that a personal adult would take their time and throw an egg on my windshield. What are we doing here? This is what we're talking about, personal growth. Who does that?
Little children, like you said, you know, a lot of us, we don't really think about it. But if we look at our own lives, we must challenge ourselves and ask ourselves, where was I 5 years ago intellectually? Where was I 5 years ago behaviorally? So when we challenge ourselves and we see we haven't grown, we should start the process and say, you know, I need to stop doing these things that are not helping me grow. But unfortunately, we're too busy looking at other people, pointing fingers at other people, what they're not doing, and we stay stagnant. And you said that perfectly, man. We all need to grow up in our thinking and our behavior. Who does that as an adult to throw an egg on a car? This is some dumb stuff that we're talking about, but that's the subject tonight. What do we need more of as a people?
Brother Ray fires in here. He says, some people lie to kick it.
Getting around, right?
Brother Ray fires in here again. He says, you must learn to disagree respectfully. and consider what the person disagreeing with is saying. I agree 1,000%, 100%, brother. If you don't agree with what I say or vice versa, we should be able to be adults to say, I don't agree, leave it at that. But to try to fight the person, and especially if there's a crowd of people around, to try to expose them and embarrass them, or to just totally, I'm not going to speak to you, brother, no more because you feel like this, it's just immature. So he is right. We need to learn how to respectfully disagree with one another without trying to make a scene. Brother Ray Foster here again. He says, only time an adult says they are grown when we are doing something wrong. Yeah, we love to see that. I'm grown. I could drink. I'm grown. I could smoke. I'm grown. I could do that.
Right.
Let's see. Letter R. More seriousness. Focus, thoughtful, and not joking all the time, especially when something is important. Yeah. I'll let you take this one, and I'll piggyback off of it.
Okay, because one of the things that I noticed, and I'm going to say this about us as a society, us as a people, not all of us, but many of us, we play too much, Chazz. We play too much. Everything is not a joke. Everything is not funny. We've gotten to the point now where we cannot have a serious discussion. And so what do we need more of as a people? We need to be more serious, because if we look at what we're doing and what's going on in our communities, what's going on in our lives, what's going on in our families, there's no time to be joking. Now, again, we're not saying that a person can't have a wisecrack here or there, but every time we try to have a serious discussion about life, about taking care of ourselves, about how we think, about how we behave, we're always laughing. We're always telling a joke. Everything isn't funny. If a child does it, I will respect that, or I should say, I would expect that from a child, because a child is a child. But us grown people, everything we say is funny. Everything we say is a joke. Everything we say is not serious. And that's why a lot of us are in the condition that we're in today.
Yeah, and they always say that some people who do this, who are especially the adults that are always joking, playing and stuff like that, especially when it's in a serious situation, they say that they have anxiety. I've heard people say this. They have anxiety and they're doing this to cope with it. But no, we do need to be more serious. We do need to be more serious as adults, especially when there's people that are going through some life-altering things. I mean, I've heard some people on the news, for example, and I keep using them, where a person that get ran over by a semi-truck, people start laughing. I mean, these are some of the things that are messed up. It's not funny someone got ran over by a semi. I mean, these are people who are going to have now life-altering issues that they'll never be the same. But I do agree, we do need to take things more serious and stop horse playing so much.
And that's why, and I'll get off this point because we've been beating this for a while, but that's why comedians are making a lot of money. And I'm not knocking them, that's their livelihood. But a lot of us, we're not serious, so we want to go sit around and listen to funny stuff because it takes us away from reality. It takes us away from not being business minded. It takes us away from always being in a servant mentality where people are using us. So we rather go hear somebody tell a joke or watch a movie that's funny, where we can bust the gut, hold our stomach all day, because it takes us away from reality, and that's our medication, you see. And that's why it is the way it is today.
Brother Ray Fives in here. He says, if we can disagree, we can't learn properly. If we can disagree, I'll let you.
Yeah, he's right. We have issues when it comes to agreement and disagreement. But here's something too that we need to do more of: be open to proper teaching. Right. Go ahead, Chazz.
Go ahead.
No, I was just saying we need to be open to proper teaching about life. No one wants to hear about life anymore, man. We're not, because when you become a certain age, when I become a certain age, we think we know everything. I always say that. We think we have done everything. No one can tell us anything. We always got their answers. We're always in somebody's face trying to tell them something or what to do, how to do it. When I was this, we need to be open to proper teaching about life, Chazz, because I don't care how old you are. I don't care how old I am. There's always something about life that we can learn.
Absolutely. And you can't be that naive or shut off to feel like once you hit a certain age, nobody can tell you nothing. Nobody can teach you nothing. You should always be open to listen. You should always be open to learning new information, because in fact, it can save you some money. It can save you some time, always being open to new things that help you in life instead of always saying it's your way or the highway. And some people are so ignorant, they say this, brother. Who is he or she to tell me this? I'm a grown man. I know that. No, you don't.
Wow.
You don't know everything.
Yeah, that's true.
Letter T, cultural pride, appreciation and respect for one's heritage, tradition, and identity. Absolutely. And I think in the black community, most people, we get our culture and stuff gets made fun of. We have big lips. We have dark skin. We have big boned, or what they say, big people who are well known to be big. These things get looked down upon in the black community. Now, this is our culture now. There are things that I wouldn't always agree with what we do. We have what they call nappy hair or nappy head, stuff like that. These are things that are tied into our culture that we need to appreciate. This is who we are. This is who I am. I mean, this isn't nothing to be ashamed about. You should be what you call dwelling and to be happy about it.
You're right, Chazz, because we should get excited about this pride instead of being down on ourselves. But we've been taught this by an enemy, you see. And this is why we tease each other, because the enemy has taught us, the enemy has infiltrated our minds and our hearts. And so now we look at each other that way. Case in point, when you see a black man or a black woman eating watermelon, a lot of people make fun of them and say, well, you know, you eating that watermelon and all this, and they make fun of it. Then black people say, I don't eat watermelon, but yet you'll go out and get a taco. See, a Hispanic, tacos, and a German likes hot dogs, and they love pizzas, these Italians, and they love that. But yet, and we love it. But when we eat something that's healthy for us, watermelon is good for us. Our ancestors, they made that something good, but now it's become bad. And one day I want to do a broadcast, even a lecture on the importance of how watermelon, the evolution of it and how good it is for us. But yet when we eat it, we look at each other and we tease each other, but yet we'll run right down the street and get some greasy pizza because other people eat it. We'll get tacos, and that's their food of their choice. See, other cultures, they pride in tacos. They pride in enchiladas. They pride in hot dogs. But when we eat watermelon, we tease each other. This is how dumb. Let me settle down. This is how messed up we are, Chazz, as a people, because we're sick, man, many of us. And that's what we need more of, as you mentioned, cultural pride.
And it's so bad, brother, that some of us try to run away from it. We shy from it, where we know what we are as black people. We are aware of some of the things that our culture is known for, but we say that's whack. That's corny. I'm not doing that. So we run to other cultures and other people's identity and hide behind that instead of rallying behind who we are. That's this terrible spot. Brother Ray Fire's in here. He says, let me see here.
It's humorous.
Humor has its place. Even when we are serious, we can be lighthearted, though. Yep. And then he also says like-minded, fanatical tribulations. No, I'm sorry, tribalism. Sister Mashana Fires behind him. She says, I love watermelon.
Now, Chazz, I've never seen that before in my life. I've never seen that before in my life where someone says that they're proud and that they love watermelon. Most of the time, it's somebody who's degrading us, or somebody who's making fun of us, or somebody who's ashamed of themselves. And this is how ignorant we are as a people. The foods that our ancestors brought over here and taught everyone else how to cook, we now just discard those things, those good ones, especially the vegetables and all of that. We taught the world how to farm. We taught the world all about harvest, crops and all of that. But yet we're ashamed of it. And so we tease people when we do things. But I've never seen a comment that on this screen where someone says they love watermelon. It's always people don't like to talk about it. People are so ashamed of it, but yet you would go get a taco. And I'm saying that because other cultures, they love their foods, and they should. But with us, we have a problem with ourselves, and this is a sign of mental slavery, and that's why we are the way we are.
And don't forget us blacks. I was going to say real quick before we move on, we love our chicken, we love our steak, we love our ribs. These are our foods that we grew up on. These are our things that we love. But like you said, now it's starting to get looked down upon, and we got to start taking it the other way and start rallying in it. That are you, courage. The ability to face circumstances and not always trying to avoid it. Exactly. Especially when the circumstances are tough. We've been fighting this thing for years. We've been fighting this thing for decades, and it seems like it won't go away. Instead of folding up, quitting, laying down, and saying, I don't have time for it, I give up. finding alternate solutions, finding different ways on how to beat this thing, saying, you know what, I don't have all the answers. Let me go to YouTube. Let me go to Google. Finding some kind of solution to get past this thing instead of folding up and just mailing it away and not doing anything at all.
I'm going to say something now, Chazz, and a lot of people may not like it. And I'm not talking about one person. I'm talking about many of us as a people, as a group of people. I'm talking about group dynamics. We have, instead of courage, we have a lot of cowards. I'm just going to say it. Yes. We have a lot of cowards. We're very timid and we're not courageous. But if you think about our ancestors, like Ida B. Wells, who was told as a writer, don't write anything else about lynching or else we're going to come after you. Here she is, a woman in the 1900s who kept writing about the evils of lynching Black people. Here's a woman who put her life on the line because she was courageous. And we can go through a lot of our ancestors, but a lot of us today, we're not interested in courage. We just want a dollar bill. We just want something in our mouths to drink or smoke or to eat, something to look at with our eyes on social media or television, something to shake our rumps to on a song or something. And this is what we've done, Chaz. We, instead of becoming courageous and standing up for truth, these kids and these other things that's going on, we become cowards, man. And we need more courageous people who are going to face the circumstances and not trying to run from it, knowing that we have a lot of problems, man.
That's one thing I would want to give, and I know these people are dead and gone, but one thing I do want to give to our people like Malcolm X, Marcus Garvey, all these people, Sojourner Truth. These people had a fighting spirit about them. No matter what you say about them, no matter what you, because I know a lot of people who may not be our skin color may look down, but the thing is, all those people, they had a resilience about them. They seemed like they will always fight back. But brother, in this generation, since they've been dead and gone, it's the opposite. They don't have any more fighters like them. And I'm trying to figure out when did that spirit die to where nobody's resilient like them anymore. Now we're the opposite. We're weak, shallow, and soft.
That's the best question you have ever posed to me in the history of adults only, Chaz. That's the best question you have asked me, and I have the answer for it, at least one of the answers. And here's the answer right here. There has always been oppression against us. Back in the day, Malcolm X, Martin King, even before that, ever since we've been gangstered over here, there's been oppression, and the people stood up for it. Today, there's still oppression. There's still police brutality. There's still lack of education. There's still unfair treatment with us. There's still racism with people treating us certain ways. But like you said, the fight has stopped, and here's why. Many of us have gotten a piece of chump change. We've gotten Chaz, we've gotten a little car. We've gotten an apartment. We've gotten a house. We get to live next to Europeans. We get to go to the grocery store and buy whatever we want to buy. And so we think that we have arrived. And so that's what have happened. Whereas back in the day, they wouldn't let you go to the same store, see? They wouldn't let you live by them. So we fought for this. And now, like Martin Luther King said, I am afraid that I have integrated my people into a burning house. And so that's why there's no fight. The rappers, they used to talk about how the police treat us and how the system is. Now, once you pay them, they cross over, and now they're doing commercials and going to European places, being lavish with gifts. So now their fight is gone, man, because we have gotten what we cried for. Many of them have but a lot of us haven't. It's still racism. It's still all the things that they went through. So that's to answer your question, because a lot of us, man, we don't care anymore, man.
Well said, brother. Well said. Well said. Brother Ray Fires in here. He says, I love watermelon and fried chicken, but I don't eat fried foods no more. Okay. Excuse me. That's pretty good. He fires in here again. He also says, courage is standing up, doing what must be done, though you're in fear. Absolutely. There's things that you're going to do in this life where you're going to be a little bit nervous. You may not show it, but in your heart, you're nervous. You're not feeling too good about it. But you're saying, you know what? I'm not going to show it. I'm going to fight through this thing anyway. I'm still going to get this stuff done no matter what it takes. And it does take a strong person to still fight through that fear and still accomplish it anyway. Letter V, boldness. The willingness to speak up and stand out from the norm. I'll let you take that one as I take another swig real quick.
Yeah, the reason why we're not courageous and the reason why we're not bold is because we're not willing to speak up and stand out from the norm. In other words, Chazz, we're like this. Behind closed doors, most of us are going to holler to the mountaintops about what's going on. But yet, when you get out in public and people ask you, then you don't want to say it because you're afraid. You want to live. You don't want to die. You're afraid of the consequences of speaking the truth, you see. And this is why I'm telling you, our ancestors, they knew that death was coming near them, but they still spoke the truth. And so we're not bold. We're cowards, many of us, and we need more boldness, the willingness to speak up, you see, and to stand out, because we want to be like the norm. We don't want people to go against us. We think something is wrong when we're persecuted, but yet that's a part of life. And this is why we are the way we are.
Right. And I was going to say that too. You don't want to stick out because you want to blend in with them. Here's the thing. When the pressure gets hot and stuff start hitting the fan, you don't want that. You want something more comfortable. You want something more lavish. You want something easy. And I think a lot of people know that in their heart, when they go across the grain, it's going to cost them something. It's going to cost them their lives. It may cost them their livelihood. It may cost them time in jail. They don't want that. So they say, you know what? I don't have time for that. I'm too old for this. I'd rather spend the next 20, 30, 40, 50 years of my life having a good time instead of fighting for some nonsense. That's what they would say. They would call it nonsense. Brother Ray Fire's in here again. He says, I have always been told, no, I'm sorry. I have always been bold. I've learned to control and use it to my benefits now. Okay.
That's good.
Okay. Letter W, concern for our youth. We've talked about this a lot on previous broadcasts. We had a show talked about how our youth, the African-American youth, are killing themselves more now than ever. They're getting involved in gangs. They're getting involved with a lot of drugs. They're getting involved with the wrong crowd. They're getting involved with the wrong people. And now it's to a point where if you're not concerned about our youth, they're going to basically either be A, behind bars, or B, in the dirt. I'm talking about dead in the dirt. This is something that we all need to. We all have young family members, too, who youths are a little bit off the chain. We need to try to speak to them and talk to them the seriousness of this, because, brother, they all need guidance. And that's all I have to say about that, the concern for our youth. It's terrible.
That's true. But, you know, a lot of us are afraid of them, Chazz. We done brought into what the system has said about them. They're hoodlums and all of these negative words that they use. So instead of trying to help them, we're afraid of them. I ain't going around them. They ain't nothing but thugs. But they don't realize that at one time you were a youth. I was a youth. And the very things that they thought and did, we did because we were youth. And so instead of being concerned for our youth, we run from our youth. We hide from our youth. We don't want to be bothered with our youth. We don't want to put anything together where we invite young people out and talk to them, whether they listen or not. We have shucked our responsibility, and that's why our youth feel as though they're out on their own. That's why the suicide rate is so high now, because they feel like they have no one to talk to. Everyone has turned their backs on the youth. They can't get any jobs. They can't go to any kind of reputable place that's going to help them, institution that's going to help them make a livelihood. So they're stuck, man, and it's our fault, many of us, because we don't want to be bothered with them. All you got to do is ask an elder person, when is the last time you had some type of gathering for the youth? And you're going to see it's been almost 40 years because they don't want to be bothered with the youth.
Letter X, concern for our elders. Now, this is the one, what I said for the youth is basically for the elders, especially the ones who can't really walk, who need guidance, who can't really remember that well, who are basically crippled. Some of them can't really get up and get out and do the things that me and you can do on a daily basis, and they need assistance to do these things. Even for some of this technology, brother, they can't really do this on their own. They need a younger person to sit there with them, guide them through it, and help them do some of these apps so they can get their medications, so they can get some of the food and some of the groceries that they may need, because our elders aren't that tech savvy. And also just being concerned for their well-being. Most of our elders, their health is down. Their health is terrible. Their health is awful because of some decisions they made in their youth, which I'm not down in them. But, brother, these are all concerns for our elders that we should be having. You see that they're in walkers. You see they're falling all the time. They can't get up. These are all kind of concerns and discussions that me and you should be having on a daily basis for our elders in our community.
That's so true, Chazz, because a lot of us, we don't want to be concerned with our elders. We've done many broadcasts about the concern for our elders, but just to piggyback off of what you said and other things we've said on this broadcast, A lot of our elders are in nursing homes, rehabilitation centers, and most of us are calling ourselves religious or spiritual. We drive by those places every day. We never stop to go in to talk to them. Some of them don't have people that's still living or people that care. They're just sitting in a room looking out of a window, and we have answers. We don't give a you know what about our elders, but yet we always run into these buildings talking about how people were concerned for the elders and concerned for the youth. We're hypocrites, Chazz. That's what we are, because we care nothing about our elders. Because if you look at our lives, you're going to see we don't go to our neighbors. Us young men don't cut our neighbors' yards who we know that can't cut their yards. We make them pay money to some kind of lawn care service, knowing they don't have it. So we don't even check. Some of the sisters don't check to see if the people have food or that they can cook to bring to them. So we're hypocrites, man. And we don't want to acknowledge the fact that we do not care the way we say we care for the elders. If we did, we wouldn't drive by them every day and not get out that car and go visit them.
Before I read this brother's comment, I want to ask, we need to have more respect for our elders from the aspect. There was a lady that you told me, I don't know, she asked you to do something. I guess she asked her grandson or her nephew or somebody. And this brother told this lady to put her mouth on his private part. What? Now, you said this on the broadcast, and I believe that he said that. That's how little respect we have for our elders. And when you told me that that brother said that, I'm shocked that he even said that.
He at that point in his life, because people change, he was a rotten, low-down, dirty dog to say that. But see, we don't like to come clean, Chad. See, we like to sugarcoat this stuff. We men like to hide behind the facade of machoism. You know, the sisters like to hide behind the facade of being dainty and cute. But yet, Chaz, this is what's going on. And this is why today that there's a trial that's going on today. And it's talking about a well-known celebrity. We all know who he is. And some of the things he's done for 20 years. Maybe he didn't do all of them, but some of them he did. And it had to do with people that were underage. And we're going to stand up and take up for this man when we know this man is not right. We stand up for drug dealers who's selling poison to our children, our kids, and us. And instead of us exposing them like they did in the 60s and running them out of town, we're so afraid we close our blinds and see what's happening, and we just run around because we are chickens. And this is why we are in a bad state today, because we don't want to do what we need to do more of, as this crawl is saying, as a people, man. Part 2.
Well said. Brother Ray's comment, he fires in here. He says, I never heard the black adolescents and the younger black adults.
Yeah, because you're not going to hear them. You're not going to hear them because we don't have time for them. We're too busy. We're too busy going to work. We're too busy worrying about our ailments, taking medicine. We're too busy watching TV. We're too busy on social media. We're too busy gossiping. We're too busy watching sports. We're too busy going to church. We're too busy going to the mosque. We're too busy going to our spiritual meetings. We're too busy talking to gurus. We're too busy watching. You know, we're just too busy, man. We don't have time for this stuff.
Letter Y, empathy. Understanding how someone else feels. Exactly. When someone's in a terrible spot or a terrible situation, putting yourself in their shoes and saying, you know what? I know how that sister feels. I know how that brother feels. He or she just lost a loved one. I know this is a terrible, terrible time for them. Let me try to be there mentally and physically for them. And just not always throwing it under the rug and not caring about what they're saying. But we do have to have more empathy for people. Unless it's our family, that's the only time that we really somewhat care. But we do need to have more empathy.
Yeah, Chaz. Yeah, I wish I had a violin. I'll play it, because what you said is true. But you're too late with that. You're about 1,000,000 years too late, because now when something happens to us, we say that's what that person gets, and we call them an end. We say that's what that end gets. We have slipped into a state as a people, and a lot of us don't want to hear this, but we know it's true. I'm talking about you, me, and everybody else. Instead of doing what we need to do more of as a people, we slipped into a state where we're indifferent. In other words, we don't want to be bothered, Chaz. We don't want to be bothered with anything but, like you said, with ours. You know, we want to be bothered with our children. We want to be bothered with our apartment. We want to be bothered with our car. We want to be bothered with our truck payment. We want to be bothered with our house note. But we don't want to be bothered with anyone else. So we have no empathy because we could care less. We have become so hard as a people. We become so intolerant as a people, and this is what has happened to us. And I'm saying these are encouraging things that we should all say, you know what, them brothers talking to me because I need to be more empathetic. Because instead of me always looking at people and thinking they're trying to get over, maybe these people are really sick. Maybe they need some kind of understanding from us to say, hey, we understand how you feel. What can we do to help you?
Well said. Letter Z. Self-analyzation, evaluating the self for our betterment. Exactly. We're not perfect. We're not all together. We don't have all the solutions, but analyzing your own self, saying, what am I lacking in? What do I need to improve in? How can I improve in some of these areas? And if I don't have these answers, get mine behind on YouTube, Google, Chat GPT, Amazon, books. There's all kind of ways that you can find the answers to these problems, but you shouldn't say to yourself that you good, you got all the solutions, even if you got a degree, even if you've been to Stanford, Harvard, all these high colleges. You are not all put together. There's always room for improvement, and we should always be analyzing ourselves, seeing where we're lacking, and finding the spots where we're lacking in to get better in.
And chances are, if you went to those schools, you're probably miseducated to begin with because they've been teaching you this nonsense to hate yourself. So now you think you're better than people. So back to this thing that says what we need more of, self-analyzation. Chazz, I don't think we look at ourselves in the mirror once a month and say, what do I need to do better? And write it down and work on it. We don't do that. We're too busy pointing fingers at other people. We're too busy cursing our children out. We're too busy trying not to be around our grandchildren and great-grandchildren. We're too busy going in a cave like a monk. Don't want to be bothered, see. We want to just steal away and chant. You know, we want to just get away from the world. We are tired. We're just sick of everything. And so we don't have time to analyze ourselves when that's where it's all at. Because you know what you need to do more of. I know what I need to do more of in my life. Nobody needs to tell me. I don't need to go anywhere where nobody I don't need to lay on the couch and nobody tell me what I need to do. You know how rotten you are, and I know how rotten I am. And the people that's watching this, you know how rotten you are and what you need to do. And I don't mean it literally, so don't get serious. But the bottom line is we all know what we need to do a much better job of in our lives personally. But when do we sit down and calculate that thing and write it down and say, I've been lying too much. I'm a big liar. I want to stop that. Next month, we say, how have I been doing? I'll stop lying. Work on something else. There's always something to work on, and quit saying that statement that we always like to run to. Ain't nobody perfect. That's a license to keep doing the nonsense, Chazz. Right. Instead of saying, I need to change. You need to change. Life is about all of us changing, man. And a lot of us don't want to change, and that's a problem.
Brother Ray Firestone here. He says, why do so many rich people enjoy degrading and hateful things for pleasure? Brother, it's a sick mind. It's a sick mindset. They do enjoy doing things to harm people and to hurt people. And your question is legit. They do these things because they have the warped mind. They get happy and pleasure from seeing people in agony and pain. It's a terrible thing to be like. But brother, that's the only conclusion I can come up with, brother. What is your take on that?
Yeah, they're very psychotic. You're right, and they think that their money is what's going to save them, and they can hide behind their money because all they have to do is go buy things or buy people, and make people fix them sandwiches and all these kind of things that they have. So, but what I'm saying is, these are people that are sick in the mind, and a lot of us have fallen into that mindset because all we want to do is get that piece of paper so we can be like them, which is a terrible thing because at that point, you're not going to analyze yourself. You don't want to analyze yourself because you think that your money makes you. You think that your money is all that. You think that you don't have to answer to anyone. You think that you are the man because you have money. You think that because you don't live around us anymore, you're better than us. And this is the mindset that has crippled us. It has destroyed us as a people for the most part. And that's why we don't like to have these kind of broadcasts. We want to talk about common things. We want to talk about things that's going on in society today. But nobody wants to talk about, I need to quit procrastinating. I need to quit being so headstrong. I need to do these things. And we all know these things, what they should be. But that's where we are now.
But I want to add on to his previous comment where he said that why do so many rich people get off or get happy on harming people? I want to add this in there too. And it just makes me angry. Why do they do that, especially with the food supply? Okay, I'm going to poison their Cheerios. I'm going to poison their meat. I'm going to poison their ice cream. I'm going to poison what they eat. I'm going to poison what they drink, and get that person sick. So then they could be on cancer or have to go to the hospital for the rest of their lives. Okay, you get that person sick. Okay, what does that do? Okay, yeah, what? That's one thing that I really can't stand. And they're doing it. They can't say it's an accident. We all know that they're poisoning the food supply. And it's a shame that it goes hand in hand with this brother's comment that they get a pleasure on seeing another person in the hospital because they have cancer or they got some kind of disease from some food or some kind of poison that they've done to us.
And he's talking about us. He's talking about us because we're not rich. And these people that have money, that's wealthy, they get a kick out of doing things to us, making sure that our health care is not up to par, making sure that we eat things that are unhealthy, making sure that our children are miseducated, making sure that we're incarcerated at alarming rates. So he's talking about us. The system is doing us that way, and they get a kick out of that. And this is why we have to have these kinds of discussions.
Brother Ray Fonz here again. He says, I meant to say, I don't fear the adolescents, youth, and young adults. Okay. He also comes behind that comment and says, making people for them fix them sandwiches. Oh, yeah.
That's what they do. They got all that money, and so they said, go in the kitchen and make me a sandwich. And then he runs in the kitchen to make him a sandwich because he knows that person have money. And it's sad, but this is where we stoop to, Chazz. And I know we don't have that much time left because as we can hear, our little music is on. But this is a nice broadcast. This is a good subject matter that we're talking about when we talk about what do we need more of as a people. We should always be looking at how can we better ourselves. It's all about group dynamics. It's not about individuality. But unfortunately, we don't have that mindset because we're too busy trying to be caught up with all the current fads, the current issues, when we ourselves have a lot of problems inside of us. And I don't know why people don't talk more about themselves as opposed to talking about other people. But I think we do know why. But the bottom line is, Chazz, it's sad, man. It's really sad.
Brother Ray has emojis. She's laughing about that sandwich comment. But yeah, it was a good broadcast. I'm glad we came back. We've been off for a couple of weeks, but this is an interesting broadcast. We appreciate, like I said, all the viewers who came on, Sister Rashonda, Sister Marie, all you guys who commented. We appreciate that. And next week, are we going to be doing this again for round 2, or you got another topic?
Well, we probably come with another topic because there's so much going on, but all of my topics, for the most part, they're all about dealing with self. And I think we cannot talk about anybody else until we talk about ourselves. But a lot of us don't like to talk about ourselves because we need help, man. We really need help. And it's a lot of things that people are doing, and there's a lot of unrest mentally. And so they want to clear the mind and get that right. But at the same time, when you get to clearing the mind and having all the thoughts that you should have, what you should do, then you still have to deal with reality. The reality is we are being bombarded as a people with racist ideologies, racist economics, racist education, and yet we don't look at that as such because we're too busy arguing with each other. And so again, on behalf of Chazz, I'm gonna let you sign us off. I just wanted to say to people, hey, we want you to know that it's about working on the self, man. Until I get better, I can't help you to do better. I can't help you to do better because I got to work on me first. And that's why I'm always looking internal to see what can I do to better myself before I want to talk about you. See, but we got to start knowing as a people, we got a lot of issues, man. We got a whole lot of them. All you got to do is look in your family as I look in mine. We look in our families. We're going to do that. So again, I'll let you sign us off, but here are some comments. Shonda says, Shemotep. Raymond says, love, respect, and peace to all on this live and feed. We love our viewers. Sister Tiffany says, Queen Rashi says, great broadcast. That's right. That's what it should be. Great encouragement. We're not putting anyone down other than the system that is pressing us. Anybody that's pressing us, we've got to put them down because we don't want to stay down. We're not putting each other down. We're not putting our people down. We're saying as a people, we have work to do, and it has to be practical. We're not going to get on here and talk about all that stuff that's so mysterious where people thinking we know everything. Make this make sense, man. do what you can do to be a better person, and this world will be a better place to live. Take us away, Chazz, with your final comments.
We all should have some kind of realization here that we're not perfect, and all this, it applies to myself as well, on self-analyzation. Some of the comments that we talked about, topics, being better people, having more empathy, our youth, our elders, all these things that we should all be contemplating on a daily basis, saying, what aspect am I weak in life? How can I improve it? How can I improve myself? Not to think that I'm better, not to think that I'm perfect or know everything, but to just better myself so I can ascend in life and become a better person. Also, our youth, and once again, I'm going to say this and I'm going to wrap it up. Our youth, we should be reaching out to them because they are the ones who are really, really at risk. They are the ones who are lost. They're fragile. Their mindsets are not all the way there. They're easily influenced. That's why they need to see a strong person that can go to them and say, that's not the way, brother. That's not the way, sister. And to stop them from doing self-harm, which is suicide, brother, because that's where this is all heading to if someone doesn't get to them quickly. And that's pretty much all I had to say about that. And I appreciate you for having me on here as always.
Okay, so we'll see you all next Wednesday. Remember, we're back on our regular time next Wednesday at 6 o'clock Central Standard Time, 7 o'clock Eastern Time. On behalf of Chazz, I'm Jahi. We'll see you next week. And you guys, really, as we say, take care of yourself. We mean that literally. Take care of yourself, and we'll see you next week.
Take care, everybody.